You're watching the Cam Rogers Show. I am Cam Rogers. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. Let me know what you think about the show. So, cool segment here, folks. I've got my 5 breakout teams for the 2018 NFL season. Before I get to those teams, I do want to define and give you guys some context in terms of what breakout means in my eyes. So we're talking about recent ineffectiveness, lack of success, potential to emerge as perhaps a Super Bowl contender. Now, doesn't have to be coming off a non-playoff season. So that qualifies a couple of teams there that, aren't as obvious as Super Bowl contenders. And then typically not a team that is highly regarded by the Vegas odds makers out there. So that's really the rundown there of breakouts. Let's get to my team number 5 for breakout squads in 2018. Full send for the Dallas Cowboys. So let me first start with the following. You're getting a full 16-game slate from Ezekiel Elliott, you would assume. And that means so much to this team from a game plan standpoint. The Dallas Cowboys are the ultimate game plan team on offense for 2018. Why is that? Because Dak Prescott cannot be throwing the football 35 to 40 times. The Cowboys have to run the rock, establish the line of scrimmage, do the play action off of that. And they're going to do that well. And that's why they're in my breakout column here. So running the football is the bread and butter of the Dallas Cowboys. They will do that just fine. Now, you got to utilize the interior of this offensive line here, and I think they will do that. And that's why I like the Dallas Cowboys a lot here is you got Frederick on the interior as well as Zach Martin. You insert Connor Williams as well out of Texas, who I think could be a really fun player. So now you got the interior of that offensive line solidified. You run the rock with Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott will not face a lot of interior pressure, you would think, with these elite players at center and guard respectively. And also with play action, you got the linebackers sucking up here and playing to the run, not playing to the pass. Dak's going to have some wide open receivers down the field, not the best receivers in the world, Allen Hurns, Deontay Thompson, Terrence Williams, Cole Beasley, the list goes on. But who cares? I mean, you're a receiver in the NFL, you should be able to catch, especially against one-on-one coverage. I don't care who the heck you are, all right? Because if the Dallas Cowboys stick to the game plan of running the football effectively, doing the play action, and finding open receivers down the field off of that, they should be good on offense. Now, the defense. I'm excited about this D-line, actually. I like DeMarcus Lawrence a lot. From a football standpoint, also a personal standpoint, this guy's pretty cool. Why? Because he got the franchise tag and he didn't complain about it. He just said, you know what, I'll play on the tag, and my play on the field in 2018 will speak to how much I should be paid the following season and onward for the long-term deal. Now, the Cowboys and DeMarcus Lawrence have until July 16th to have that long-term deal solidified, but DeMarcus isn't rushing that, and that is just so refreshing to hear. It's not a Le'Veon Bell situation, which is just good. Great stuff. David Irving, I like him a lot. I think Crawford is a good player as well. I think he's a worthy defensive lineman, so that front four is not all that bad. And in terms of a linebacking core, this could low-key be a top 10 LB core in the NFL. Because you got Leighton Vander Esch, right? We'll see how he develops. Sean Lee, let's pray to God he has a 16-game season because he's an elite linebacker when he is healthy. And Jalen Smith, we're still waiting a little bit on Jalen to emerge, but I think he can, and the Cowboys invested highly in him, so you would expect, at least in theory, that Jalen Smith will eventually pop. So that's why, you got the Cowboys as a breakout team, but the breakout within the breakout could be that linebacking core there for Dallas. And then I am really excited about this secondary here. Byron Jones playing cornerback. Gotta love it. Jordan Lewis, Chidobe Awuzie, they're fine players as well. Xavier Woods could come into his own in 2018. But to put a bow on the Dallas Cowboys, like I said, game plan. If they run the football well, which they should, and that's what I'm banking on here, and Dak can be an effective quarterback on the play action to the likes of Allen Hurns and maybe even Michael Gallup, haven't mentioned him yet, that rests your defense, keeps your defense fresher, allows the likes of DeMarcus Lawrence and others to tee off on these opposing quarterbacks and let that secondary ball out. I think Orlando Scandrick moving on could have been a huge blessing in disguise for Dallas, because I think that opens up the opportunities for some of these young players in that secondary, and a secondary I like a lot. Certainly not to the Rams or to the Chargers level, but top 13, top 14 potential in terms of pass defense. So Dallas Cowboys, my number 5 breakout team for 2018. Let's continue on here. My number 4 team, we've got the Oakland Raiders. So this was a team that had Super Bowl expectations going into 2017. How'd they finish? 6-10. So now they're flying a little under the radar. And if you guys listen to my Cowboys analysis here, you can probably tell I'm a big offensive line enthusiast. And we're talking about a talented front 5 for the Oakland Raiders. Donald Penn is still an effective tackle. Kelechi Osemele is one of the better guards out there. Rodney Hudson I like a lot at center. He's a top 10 center in my eyes. Gabe Jackson should be able to bounce back at guard as well. And then you got Colton Miller there at right tackle. The Raiders have one of the better pass-protecting lines in the National Football League. Yes, that front line did not play like it in 2017, but it's just too much talent for that front to struggle for the second year in a row. So I'm banking on that offensive line playing a lot better. Rodney Hudson will be a key part of that. You'll see his name in the key contributors list that will flash later in this little portion here. Rodney finished 6th, according to Pro Football Focus, among all centers. So pretty good ranking there. And then you got Derek Carr, who I just think has to bounce back. He has to. There is no way 2017 Derek Carr will show up again in 2018. He has the services of Jordy Nelson and Martavis Bryant, really capable receivers. Oh, by the way, there's Amari Cooper as well. Ryan Switzer comes to town. Maybe he could do some damage if the Raiders use him the right way. And then Marcel Aitman, nice 7th round selection. We'll see what he can do on the outside. Carr is just 2 years removed from a 28 touchdown, 6 interception season. He can get back to that level. So what I am basically basing my logic on here with the Raiders is that we know what they can do because we saw it in 2016. Let's just pretend that 2017 is just one big anomaly, and 2018 will be more of 2 years ago. So that's kind of where I'm going here with the Oakland Raiders. Now, on defense, I do like the pieces they added there. Tahir Whitehead, linebacker there, I like him a lot. Rashawn Melvin at cornerback, really good player. Had an 85.7 grade according to Pro Football Focus a year ago. Carl Joseph is molding nicely at strong safety. And then that defensive line could very well register a lot of sacks next season. We're talking about Khalil Mack. Justin Ellis may not be a sack master, but he plugs up the interior. And then you got Arden Key, Mo Hurst. They're quality players on that front line that should make some noise coming out of the draft. And Bruce Irvin, he's still got it going on at linebacker. So I like that front 7 more than what people really are giving credit for. And can we just mention that Chucky is in town as well? John Gruden is here. And this guy didn't come out of retirement to work on a project. He came out of retirement and signed with the Oakland Raiders. Sure, it was a big fat contract and a lot of money, but he could have done that with ESPN. He sees something in this Oakland Raiders team. So who am I to say that John Gruden is wrong? So I'm buying into John Gruden and the investment that he is making in this Oakland Raiders team, and I'm telling you what, the Raiders could be a breakout team in 2018 because, by the way, the AFC West is one big quagmire. I have no idea who is going to win that division. Could be the Raiders, could be another team that I talk about later in this segment. But first, let's go to number 3 on my list. And we've got the San Francisco 49ers for a few reasons. Yes, the hype is real, and yes, I am buying into it. But the Niners addressed some major needs over the offseason. First of all, they solidified Jimmy Garoppolo as the franchise quarterback. His talent cannot be understated. He's a top 10 quarterback for 2018. I'll tell you that much. And then they go ahead and get Richard Sherman to help solidify things in that secondary, along with K'Wan Williams and Akella Witherspoon. That's a good group of corners. Jaquaski Tart, Adrian Colbert, solid safety tandem as well. Then you got the offensive line that should be better. Weston Richburg comes in at center. Very important for that blown zone blocking scheme there for Kyle Shanahan. Jonathan Cooper comes in at guard. I think he could start in week 1. Joshua Garnett has slimmed up a little bit. a little quicker, a little more agile on the offensive line. Laken Tomlinson is there as well. So the interior is not as bad as the situation was at the beginning of the offseason. So that helps a lot. And then Jerick McKinnon should have a huge year. He is going to get over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, probably more than 1,000 yards rushing, just because I trust Kyle Shanahan. I trust what he's going to do with Jerick, because the report was a couple of months ago, Kyle Shanahan was like fighting hard, outbidding the New York Jets to get Jerick McKinnon. So he really wanted him. He should use him the right way. Mike McGlinchey, by the way, should be a good player at right tackle as well. But the main premise behind this is that first name on your screen there. Jimmy Garoppolo, 7-0 as a starter, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks, with a career 67 completion percentage. Top 10 talent, will be a top 10 quarterback in 2018. He's got plenty of weapons around him with Pierre Garçon and Marquise Goodwin and Trent Taylor. They're all there. The situation is there for Jimmy G to thrive. So I've got the 49ers as my number 3 breakout team. Let's go to number 2 on the list here, and we will remain out west because I've got the Los Angeles Chargers, and this is all despite really the Hunter Henry news. It's tough news, but I'm still going to keep the Chargers on my list here. And actually, I like their defense a lot, more so than the offense, because they have the perfect modern-day defense. If you watched my top 10 defenses of 2018 segment, I talked about how the Chargers have the defense to beat prolific offenses because they have the edge rushing duo of Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram, 2 elite players. Then you got the cornerbacks with Trevor Williams and Casey Hayward and Desmond King as well, coming off a really good first year. Secondary is solid. Edge rushers are solid. Got to beef up a little bit on the interior, especially in run defense. But I do like the defense a lot for LA. Phillip Rivers, obviously on the back nine of his career, but he has the pieces around him to make a run. You've got Melvin Gordon, a top 5 running back. Keenan Allen, like clockwork, turned out 1,400 yards roughly last year with 6 touchdowns, and I feel like none of us talked about that. So we got a full healthy season from Keenan Allen. That should be the case in 2018 as well. Hopefully Mike Williams sees a bigger role at the wide receiver position. And the offensive line, especially that interior with a couple of young guards getting better, should be in good shape as well. So we've got the Chargers on my list here. Talked about how the AFC West is going to be a challenge. I actually think it's going to come down to maybe the Chargers and the Raiders for the AFC West crown. Maybe Denver sneaks in there, maybe the Chiefs as well. But, I mean, this is going to be a dogfight. So should be fun to watch at that. Let's go to number 1 on my list for top breakout teams for the 2018 season, the Tennessee Titans. Now, hold on, YouTube commenters out there. I understand that the Tennessee Titans made the playoffs last year, but if you remember at the beginning of my segment, I talked about how breakout teams, for the definition of breakout for me, they don't necessarily have to miss the playoffs the previous year. So the Tennessee Titans, by the way, had no business making the playoffs in 2017 because my Baltimore Ravens deserved every inch of being in the postseason, but I digress. Titans, great offseason. They get Malcolm Butler, helps a lot in that secondary. Dion Lewis as well at the running back position, along with defensive tackle Benny Logan, providing some good depth there. Rashaan Evans, what a draft that was for the Tennessee Titans, getting that linebacker, and Harold Landry, by the way, at incredible value. Head coach Mike Vrabel, former linebacker himself, should be able to have a field day with the pieces on that defense, and I'm telling you, the Tennessee Titans will be top 10 in run defense for sure. Probably going to be top 10 in total defense as well because of that front 7 and addressing that secondary as well. Derrick Henry, Dion Lewis should be a very fun 1-2 punch at running back. And then you got Marcus Mariota coming off that play action there to the likes of Corey Davis, Rashard Matthews, Delaney Walker. Those receivers won't scare you per se. But if you got the play action working right and they're wide open down the field, that's all you can ask for. So the Tennessee Titans, my number 1 breakout team for the 2018 NFL season. Let's summarize the entire list here. Tennessee checks in at 1. We got the Chargers at 2, 49ers at number 3, Oakland Raiders at number 4, and the Dallas Cowboys are there at number 5. Which team will be the most successful next season? Let me know in this reaction poll here. Give me a like for the Cowboys, laughing face for the Oakland Raiders, heart for the Tennessee Titans, a wow face for the San Francisco 49ers.